Secondaries are about 75% complete, and residential streets, 50% have had a first pass, and we are working to open up every street in the city. A driving ban remains in effect in Buffalo. We are asking for motorists not to drive in the city so that crews can safely finish their work. Safely for motorists and pedestrians, and safely for the crews that are working. Our goal is to get plowing done today. We are looking to opening up the city tomorrow, looking to opening Buffalo City Hall. We intend on getting it done. Let me just also say, a number of people have reached out to the city very concerned about comments that the National Guard would be in the city of Buffalo, ticketing motorists. We have asked that that not happen. That request did not come from the city of Buffalo. And after people are going through tragedy, after people are going through devastating conditions, we are not going to criminalize the residents of the city of Buffalo and the residents of Western New York. The loss of life during this winter storm is a very, very painful thing. For all of us, we are heartbroken. The city of Buffalo, the Buffalo Police Department has recovered 28 persons who passed away during the storm from storm-related conditions. We have also recovered other bodies that have passed away from natural causes, and Commissioner Gramaglia will give an update on that. Again, as you know, this was a historic storm, probably the worst storm that the city has seen in over 50 years, and perhaps, maybe, the worst storm in recorded history since these storms have been tracked. Buffalo, again, was ground zero for the storm conditions. The worst of everything hit in the city of Buffalo. That has been told to us by meteorologists. That has been communicated to us by National Grid, but we continue to press on to protect our residents. Our police and emergency crews are continuing to help residents in need. We continue to shelter families in need in 2 of our city's warming centers, Delavan Grider. We assisted 6 families overnight with shelter cots, blankets, and food. Tosh Collins, overnight, 2 families stayed there. National Grid families and small businesses in Buffalo and Western New York that have experienced a loss of power for 72 hours or greater during the storm may be eligible to receive reimbursement for spoiled food or medicine. Customers have 14 days to file their claim. National Grid has proactively emailed its customers to inform them of this program. We are just supporting their efforts in getting out the word. For customers who do not have access to computers, they can call 315-428-3370. Again, that number, and please get out a pen if you are in this situation, is 315-428-3370. We will put that information on all of the city's communications platforms, and we thank National Grid again for getting that information out. We are now down to less than 450 residents without power in the city of Buffalo. Our Department of Public Works continues to work strategically with National Grid to get them to locations where they need to be able to restore power. And we won't quit, we won't stop working until 100% of our residents have their power restored. I want to remind you about abandoned vehicles and vehicles driving on the road during the driving ban. They continue to impede the clearing of snow from city streets. Hundreds of vehicles stuck and abandoned. Vehicles that are abandoned are now being towed. If your vehicle was towed, please reach out to the police district where you left your vehicle, and we will have a complete listing of where your vehicle can be retrieved. As you know, we have experienced looting in the city of Buffalo that we are taking extremely seriously. The Buffalo Police Department has established an anti-looting detail. Police continue to make arrests and continuing with winter storm break-ins, and anyone with information regarding any of these incidents is urged to call or text the confidential tip line at 847-2255. Again, that number is 716-847-2255. Now I will turn things over to Public Works Commissioner Nate Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. As the Mayor indicated, the department continues to lead the snow clearing operations in the city as we've done before the snow started, leading it through the storm and certainly post-storm and now is into removal. The Mayor gave some statistics. We've actually improved those a little bit today already. So mains were at 95%, secondaries were 80%, and by the end of the day today, we'll have 100% of that first pass through streets, through the residential streets. That's that first pass clearing punch. In a lot of places across the city in those residential areas, we've done more than that. So we might be fully open in some places, but certainly in aspects of the city, we have 100% of those residentials with that first pass. Over 450 pieces of equipment that we have in place at the moment. That includes our DPW resources, state resources that were brought in, county resources, and I've got a few of those municipalities and counties, agencies to thank in a minute. But all told, right now we're at about 482 in terms of additional equipment above and beyond our DPW. So 450, as the Mayor mentioned, and we keep having equipment come in throughout the day. So I think that effort, along with some of the weather turn, is certainly helping the clearing of the streets. So we continue to really have good progress there. We've got dedicated equipment, as the Mayor said, with National Grid. So as they need our help, we're there with them, and that restoration continues to occur. We've got great success with the coordination. So our team has been leading efforts with help from, and I'll list a couple of counties. Erie County, obviously, their supply of private contractors they've engaged has been very helpful. But actual municipalities of Wayne County, Albany County, Dutchess County, Tompkins County, Monroe County, Suffolk County, Genesee County, Ontario, and Oswego, all those have provided mutual assistance through New York State. From a state perspective, multiple agencies across the state that we've been coordinating, including the Air National Guard. And the city of Albany, Syracuse, Cherry Creek, Amherst, and Tonawanda have all provided resources that we've been able to take in and help distribute across parts of the city. So special thanks to those. And of course, our entire DPW and city team, streets, sanitation, real estate, parks, engineering, and the impact team, we've been all on board clearing the streets. So, between our public team here internally in the department, the public entities from across the state, some of those private entities that have been brought in, certainly by the city, and then by the some helpful coordination with the county, we are moving forward and anticipate continuing our clearing throughout the day today. So that'll be the brief update at this point in time. Mayor.
We'll next hear from Police Commissioner Joseph Lavaglia to give you a report on police activity during the storm, including the police department's recovery of persons who passed away during the storm for different reasons, as well as the anti-looting detail that the police department has established. Commissioner?
Thank you, Mayor. As we have been doing, our search and recovery teams are back at it again today. They are being led by our Chief of Detectives, William Macy, that include our Buffalo Police Department SWAT team, our dive team, They are coordinating the efforts. They are working with the New York State Police. They're working with many other New York State agencies, including Parks, Corrections, DEC. I know I'm missing others. I've seen many of them. I've been touring the city. I've been touring the police districts. I've been out there thanking all the members for all the work that they've been doing. The Rochester Police Department, again, has sent their dive team. Again, they're sending their dive teams because of the special equipment that they have, that they can get out and do the work that needs to be done. Members of all of these departments are also utilizing their own personal snowmobiles and skid steers, pickup trucks, and whatever else we have to get out and accomplish the mission. The ATF has had members who have their own personal snowmobiles have been out assisting in this effort. The New Jersey State Police has arrived. They have come in to also assist with special equipment on the search and recovery efforts, as is the National Guard, who are also assigned to our members. This is a very coordinated effort. We are still getting through 911 calls of check the welfares that date back, going back to the earlier days of the storm. We have whittled our call volume from about 1,100 calls going back to Friday, yesterday morning. We are now down below, I believe the count is 200 to 300 calls that are left, about 200 calls that are left, that we're still going through door to door of those check the welfares, checking homes, and trying to get that mission accomplished. The work that they are doing is nothing short of grueling. And let me stress that, how grueling that this is. They have personally recovered and transported 28 storm-related deaths. They have also personally transported another at least a dozen or more people who have passed away by natural deaths that normally would not fall under the responsibility of the police department, the funeral directors, who are unable to get in and to handle those. So they've transported a significant amount of death over the last several days, and they are coming in every day and they're doing the job that needs to be done. I cannot commend them enough. The other thing I want to say is that the families that lost their loved ones, I can't say how sorry we are. Just please know that our officers did everything they possibly could. Friday night and Saturday throughout the day, and Saturday night was extremely hard on our officers, on the fire department, and all the first responders that were out there. Our job is to come in every day, help people, save lives, and this storm was so debilitating, the worst I've ever seen in my life, that our officers got stuck themselves trying their hardest to get to people, getting out of cars, walking on foot, doing what they needed to do to try to get to people. They are affected by this, and we are certainly going to bring in the appropriate personnel to talk to our officers after, but they know what the mission is, and they will still go out there and do what needs to be done, and we're going to be out there as long as it takes. The other problem I want to talk about is the looting, and this is drawing resources that should not have to be drawn to deal with this. This is a problem. This isn't food. As I said the other day, as the mayor has said, people have absolutely outright destroyed some of the stores and the markets that community, those particular communities depend on a daily basis. The videos that we uploaded yesterday are just a small sampling of what our anti-looting detail has been doing, clearing stores out. The stores, the shelves, the cash registers, things have absolutely been destroyed. It's uncalled for. It's disgusting, to be personally honest. We have made 9 arrests yesterday alone. We have the identities of a host of other people that were involved in looting activities. I've had multiple conversations with the District Attorney, John Flynn. We will be prosecuting burglary charges on those that entered and remained unlawfully and committed crimes within these stores. We have made arrests. We will make arrests. I saw a particular video at Louis in E District where I don't know how you can consider this essential, but individuals were smashing cash registers. And I will tell you this right now. We've already got tips on who you are. Expect a knock on your door. We are coming for you. We will make arrests. And every police district, all of the district detectives in those districts are working leads. And we have details out during the day and at night, and we will come for you. I can tell you right now, if you want to make things easier for yourselves, go to the nearest police district and turn yourself in. But other than that, expect a knock on your door. We will come for you. We will prosecute you. You have absolutely taken away valuable resources for people in that community, and that has taken resources away from our search, our rescue, our recovery operations, as well as providing safety to DPW so that they can haul away snow. I can't thank DPW enough in the initial days. These are workers that are out doing normally doing plowing efforts. We had to retask them for life-saving measures. And yes, they may not have been able to go out and plow streets in the beginning because they were leading the charge, plowing out paths for our police officers to get to people. We were able to rescue about 65 people and more than that we didn't have a count on Friday because of the efforts of DPW. Commissioner Martin, I thank you and your staff. And I know the families of people that were taken out of their cars. I know they thank you for those efforts as well. So that's the update I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Our Buffalo Fire Department, during the course of this storm, not only were they involved in welfare checks, emergency medical services being provided, they also had to fight a number of fires during this difficult and dangerous and life-threatening storm. I'm going to ask now Deputy Fire Commissioner Ramon Suarez, just to talk a little bit about the activities of the Buffalo Fire Department during the storm.
Thank you, Mayor. The Buffalo Fire Department responded to 15 house fires. 7 of them went to multiple alarms due to the snow. I would like to thank the National Guard and the DPW plowing teams to clear the way so we can get to those fires and put them out. We lost so we can prevent losing more than we lost. We also have a task force team for ARVs doing the EMS calls. And I would just like to thank the Buffalo Fire Department's members for all their hard work and continued hard work that we're going to provide to our citizens of the city.
Thank you. We'll now open up for questions that members of the public have. Again, I want to thank Department Commissioner Ray for working around the clock.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Well, we're going to get into the questions as we've done it before. I will call on those who have questions. I'll go down the list of the members of the media. So today we're going to start with WBEN.
Good morning, Mayor. It's Tim Wenger. Just prior to your press conference, the county executive completed his, and at the end of that press conference, launched what I would consider a pointed attack at the city, and saying the city is not participating in emergency briefings. The city is always last to be open. He's sick of it, doesn't care anymore, seeking to take over city snow removal during extreme storms. Looking for your response.
I did not hear the county executive's news briefing. I can say this, people have been working around the clock since the beginning of this storm. You know, some people handle that pressure a lot differently. Some keep working, some keep trying to help the residents of our community, and some break down and lash out. So don't really know what the county executive is talking about. I do know that the storm conditions in the city of Buffalo were the most adverse in all of Erie County, in all of Western New York. The numbers of snowfall, the numbers for wind gusts, the numbers of sad fatalities, which are very painful, the number of people that worked around the clock in the city of Buffalo that recovered, those who lost their lives. Every meteorologist, National Grid, every expert is saying that the major impacts of this storm were in the city of Buffalo. We worked it around the clock. We never gave up, and we're continuing to work to address conditions that still exist.
Mayor, does the city participate in a coordinated briefing with that would include the county? He's saying that the city is not at the table when it comes to these coordinated briefings.
Well, the city has been in the Emergency Operations Center. We have had police personnel, we have had fire personnel in the Emergency Operations Center. We have coordinated conversations with the county, with state DOT, with State Department of Emergency Services and Homeland Security. So we have been involved in briefings, we've been involved in conversations. Again, the weight of the responsibility for the city of Buffalo falls on me as mayor, our police commissioner, our fire commissioner, our Public Works Commissioner, and our Parking Commissioner, and many others. So I don't know where those comments are coming from. Again, this has been stressful. People have been working around the clock. People have been working without sleep. And I'm just gonna chalk it up to someone feeling that pressure and crumbling a little bit under it.
Do you work well with the county executive?
Yes, we have communicated during the storm. We have communicated constantly with Governor Hochul. We have had people working around the clock. Buffalo Police has worked very closely with the state police. The Department of Public Works has worked very closely with county, state, and private contractors. In fact, the City of Buffalo Department of Public Works has coordinated and game planned all of the snow removal activities in the City of Buffalo. And I can tell you this, there are no plow drivers that understand and know the City of Buffalo better than the Department of Public Works plow drivers and managers who live in the city and who travel these streets every single day.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you would like to add something?
So we've had our deputy commissioner and captains have been out at the EOC. We are working hand in hand with the New York State Police. I have had more phone calls with Superintendent Stephen Igrelli and just in the last 6 days than I've had before, and we've been longtime friends. We have we spun up on Christmas Eve the emergency operations response for the City of Buffalo with the New York State Police, with Inspector James Hall as the incident commander handling the state response. We have coordinated emergency response, search and recovery efforts, search and rescue efforts, our anti-looting detail, all operations that deal with the city. We are very closely embedded with the New York State Police and all the state agencies and the National Guard and the governor's office to come with what has been going on in the City of Buffalo. We are in the room. We have had many conversations. We have conversations, conference calls on a regular basis, and our officers, the New York State Police, all the state agencies, and bring in the other agencies are working their hardest to get this job done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner.
If I may add as well to that, I was actually present at the Emergency Operations Center a few times during the storm. I've been coordinating from there. We have a deep also as a representative at the Emergency Operations Center, who's closely with the police, certainly county, their operations, National Grid out there, coordinating that response through their needs, that the operations pulling those with our private and some of the state and county well. So effort being coordinated our one W the worst thing we have we've been able to put all those together layer puzzle, and I don't think they're like able to layer.
Okay. Thank. All right, we've got another question from Ed Drance from WKBW. Ed, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, good morning to you. I just want to follow up on Tim's point here with two questions. Number one, the City of Buffalo is the last to have its driving ban lifted. I understand the conditions here were adverse, but in Lackawanna, in Cheektowaga, in Amherst, in Tonawanda, the driving bans have all been lifted. The county executive has said that the city is all but capable. He's basically saying the city is incapable of handling snow removal. And he's saying that this is proof of that. Is the city capable of handling snowstorms of this magnitude? That's my first question.
Absolutely. And again, as you and the media have reported many times, the major this storm, ground zero for this storm in the city of Buffalo, which is the population center for Erie County. The city of Buffalo, where homes are closer. So we are very capable of handling storms and handling adverse storms. It is quite clear that any municipality that can take a historic storm, a storm of this magnitude, is going to need mutual aid. That's everybody. That's urban municipalities. That's every city in New York State. That's every county in New York State. When is adverse, when weather is in epic and historic precautions, epic and historic proportions. Again, I did not hear the county executive's briefing. I've talked to him many times during the storm. He's called me, I've called him. He has never once directly, county executive to mayor, said any of these things to me. So to say that during a news brief is a little strange. It's a little odd. I don't know where that comes from.
Mr. Mayor, let me just follow up now. There are nearly 36 deaths within the city of Buffalo. You've already taken responsibility for the response to this storm. Do you think that you should resign?
No, I don't think I should resign. And these were historic blizzard conditions. It was reported for blizzard on Friday morning. This was in the right direction. I said that people should not drive after Thursday, that people should stay at home after Thursday night. Many warnings were issued by myself, by other elected officials, by members of the media, and again, the Department of Public Works, the police department, the fire department, the Department of Parking, and many others worked around the clock, saving lives and responding to the needs of our residents. They were the people that were on the ground in these blizzard conditions, working feverishly to get to people and to answer calls nonstop, even putting their own lives at risk to do that.
Okay, thank you. We have another question from Hannah Bueller from WKBW. Hannah.
Good afternoon. Thanks for taking my question today. We've kind of hammered out what the county executive said about the city's response to the storm, calling it embarrassing. Mayor Brown, I'd like you to rate for us the city's response to the storm. What differently could you have done in this situation, if anything?
The city did everything that it could under historic blizzard conditions. It's been said that this storm was the worst that the city of Buffalo has seen in over 50 years. Perhaps the worst storm that Buffalo has had since storms have been recorded. The last deadly and dangerous storm was the blizzard of 1977. And there are many experts that are saying in many ways, this storm was worse than that. And again, I will remind everyone that on Friday and Saturday, conditions that meteorologists predicted, and for people out there trying to plow, for people out there calls and emergency calls, they were getting stuck. They had zero visibility because conditions were just that adverse, were just that dangerous.
I just have to
All
follow
right,
up
thank
with,
you.
I just want to follow up real quick. You said 70% of the streets have been plowed in the city of Buffalo, 95% of the mains. It's just not reflecting that on the GPS tracker that a lot of people use at home. Is there something wrong with the tracker? Why are most of the roads still red? We have calls from people who say they have not seen a plow. Does the city have enough plow drivers? Are you bringing in other contractors? Where are you with plowing right now? And what's up with the GPS tracker?
Yeah, so there were a lot of sub questions in there. I'll start with the GPS tracker. The GPS tracker is functioning. It is covering vehicles. So the fact that we're 450, 482 outside pieces of equipment, outside contractors, municipalities, those pieces of equipment are not on our GPS system, right? They're not actually reporting. So any progress that they're doing on any street in any neighborhood in any part of the city is actually not being indicated on our map. Our DPW crew is with them. We're also focusing on other areas of the city. So you'll see a scattered response from our team on that map and the public viewing map, just because our equipment is focused on a clearing pattern that is complementary in a blended way with all the private contractors that we have engaged. So we've got those private contractors in neighborhoods, in street level coordination with state inspectors, our city inspectors. We have eyes on the ground coordinating each of those teams in parts of the city. So in terms of the percentages, it was 95% of the mains, about 80% of the secondaries, and those are fully clear for full 2 passes. And then residential by the end of the day, well, 100% clear on those first passes. And then more clearing beyond those pure numbers. So, you know, if an opportunity as a team was in, we've taken a lot more snow piles, but in some cases you might have some snow piles. We're going to come back and get those in a secondary piece. But our first effort, and most importantly, was get those life safety openings in all the streets, and we'll certainly do that. So, you know, we're working closely with Commissioner Parkin Wagner and his team to move cars that were abandoned and cars that are still getting stuck. We're running across cars that are still out and about and new vehicles that are stuck. So our teams can coordinate to have those removed with our efforts.
Okay, thank you.
Listen, I'm not going to answer any more questions about what the county executive said. I didn't see his news briefing. I was out working for the people of Buffalo, but I will say this to you. The county executive and I have talked numerous times on the phone. We've been together in person, and as tough and as strong as the county executive could be in a news briefing, he did not say any of this to me on the phone or face to face. I want you to just process that in your minds for a moment. Next question, please.
Okay, thank you. We have a question from the Buffalo News.
Hi, Mayor Brown. This is Charlie Specht. I just wanted to ask, some of the anecdotal evidence points to many victims being people of color, particularly from the east side of the city. Does the city's data, as far as the number of deaths and the number of power outages, confirm that? And if so, what are some of the reasons that some of the underserved communities typically are hit particularly hard by a storm like this?
I will take the last part of that question first, Charlie. During the storm with power outages, the National Grid told us that roughly about 80% of those without power throughout this entire storm were in the city of Buffalo. National Grid said also, from what they saw, with their contractors that were from across the state and across the country, these are some of the worst storm conditions that they have ever seen, concentrated in the city of Buffalo, and literally blowing and drifting snow and wind gusts as high as 79 miles an hour, literally knocking out their substations, freezing their substations, creating a situation where they had to bring in specialized heaters to heat up their substations so that people could work on them without being electrocuted. So no place else in Erie County, no place else in Western New York had the storm impacts like the city of Buffalo. Now, in terms of the recovery of people that passed away and where those people were located, I'm going to let Commissioner Gramaglia speak to that.
Thank you, Mayor. We have had a very difficult task of recovering bodies from all parts of the city. We've recovered bodies, we've recorded the locations, we've worked with the county medical examiner's office on how the documentation of that is going to go. The identification falls to the county medical examiner's office to make those identifications. That's going to be a long process in some circumstances, so we don't have all that information yet. But our chief of detectives, William Macy, and his homicide squad are working with the medical examiner's office to get all of those identifications. and of course those locations and then the paperwork that goes behind that. So, but there has been deaths that have occurred in all parts of the city.
So just to be clear, you cannot say whether the east side was hit worse than other parts of the city at this point?
Greater and vulnerable communities. I myself was without power. I was without power for 24 hours. So this affected everybody. This affected a lot of people across the city. At the height of the storm, there were over 20,000 residents without power in different parts of the city, and it wasn't necessarily concentrated in any one area of the city. And I asked National Grid that question. This is happening in certain areas. Is it that equipment is not upgraded, that equipment has not been invested in the same way in these areas? And National Grid's response at the was absolutely not. The situation was the storm impacts, the ferocity of the storm, the ferocity of the winds, the blowing snow was more adverse, was more impactful in the city than anywhere else, which is why the city of Buffalo had the greatest impacts. And anybody that has been out working in this should understand that.
Okay,
Next
thank
question.
you. We have a question from Dominic Lavallo. Dominic, can you unmute?
Yep, thank you. Thank you, Mayor, for taking the time. Two quick questions. One, do we have a count on how many businesses have been hit by looting? And two, does the city still plan on holding a ball drop celebration for New Year's?
We have not made a decision on ball drop yet. That decision will be made on public safety. Again, over 4 feet of snow throughout the city of Buffalo. We would have to clean up that area, haul snow, make sure that it's safe for people to be down during ball drop. That decision has not been made yet. For the other part of your question, I will ask Commissioner Gramaglia to respond to that.
Yeah, I don't have a full determination of the extent of stores that have been looted. Because of the driving ban, obviously the conditions, not all store owners have been able to get in and actually file reports. We have a team of detectives that are out driving around, looking at locations. We don't know if some of them are going to be storm related or looting related, but we are working through that, and we will have a final determination on those numbers. And as I said, anything that these stores have, especially when store owners are able to get in, please look at your video systems. Hopefully they were operating. If they were not in an area that suffered a power loss, save whatever video you have and make sure that gets to us. But it's going to be a longer process to get through that. But we know that we're looting in multiple parts of the city.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. We've got time for a couple more questions. Next up, we've got Dave McKinley. Dave, you can unmute.
Dave, can you unmute your phone?
All right, not hearing a response from Dave, we'll go on to Angela Preston. Angela, can you unmute?
Good morning. I just wanted to piggyback off of what Dominic asked about the looting. I know Commissioner Gramaglia, you said that you guys didn't have a number yet, but out of the anti-looting details that have been responding to these incidents, how many of those have been on the east side?
How many, what on the east side?
The anti-looting detail that you guys have had out.
How many arrests have we made, or how many personnel or looting?
No, how many businesses have the anti-looting detail responded to that have been on the east side?
Oh, okay. As I said, I don't have a specific number. I know there was a significant impact on the east side. Black Rock Riverside also had as I'm told from my district chief over there, who's still working through the numbers, had a significant impact. So I can't give you definitive numbers and locations. We're still working on that because of all the conditions and the work that our department was doing. We spun this up yesterday morning. They were making a lot of progress. We had details out during the day. We had details out at night. We also had officers that were out in those areas that have seen some of the looting to hopefully prevent more of that. So I'm not prepared to give you these final numbers yet. We're still calculating that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. We've got time for one more. We've got Bob McCarthy. Bob, can you go ahead and unmute?
Bob, can you unmute your phone if you're still there with your question?
You got that? Am I with you, Mayor?
Yes, we can hear you.
Mayor, I'm wondering what your thoughts are about this apparent feud between the two top municipal leaders addressing this situation. What should people in the area and what should people around the country think about what seems to be a genuine feud between the two top leaders?
Bob, thank you for your question. I don't have any feud. My approach and the city's approach is always to work collaboratively and to work cooperatively with others in the community and with partners in government. I thought we were doing that. There was a lot of communication since before and the beginning and during the storm. There were direct talks by cell phone. There were face-to-face conversations. So again, I don't know where that is coming from, but I'm not feuding with anyone. My goal is to protect life safety. My focus is on the city of Buffalo and its residents, and to address these conditions, these historic blizzard conditions, as quickly as possible.
May I follow up by asking, do you think that the city needs to review its need for equipment if we're going to have storms like this from time to time? Should the city be looking at any other type of new equipment or any type of new snow fighting plan?
Again, this is a historic blizzard. The city snow fighting plan doesn't address blizzards. It addresses normal snowfall. We have the equipment that we need in the city of Buffalo for normal snowfall. And I would remind everyone again that the greatest weather impacts with the snow ban hovering over the city of Buffalo for days was in the city of impact that Buffalo had. And with that severity of impact, there are going to be more adverse conditions. But we've had people working diligently, working around the clock, utilizing every piece of equipment that we have. And Governor Hochul called in mutual aid, and we had municipalities in the region, across the state, and as far away as New Jersey assisting in this effort because people knew the severity of the storm and the impact in the city of Buffalo. But when it comes to me, Bob, I'm peace and love. I'm cool, calm, and collected, and I don't lose my mind during a crisis. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone.
Record.